Welcome to the Bodybuilding Banter podcast, your number one source of all things bodybuilding. Be sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future episodes. Now, here's your host, Leroy Rollins.
All right, dude, let's kick it off. How you been?
I've been good, dude. It feels like it's been a while since we talked. How's everything going on your end there? Seeing you had to end prep early and whatnot, but
Yeah, I had to shut it down for the good of the cause, right? Like
absolutely.
there wasn't much for what I was trying to do this year. There wasn't much point in keeping going for the uncertainty of everything, right?
No, absolutely, man. Yeah, see, for me right now, it's just I'm gonna be starting dieting in a few weeks here, more or less, just because of that 2 year gap on the pro card with the WNBF. So I want to obviously, prep just in case things go through. You know what I mean? So if I didn't have to do that, I would totally just take the year off and continue an off season. But with still you know what I mean, still up in the air, you don't know fully what's going to happen, especially come, October, November when the shows I'm looking at doing. So I'm gonna
So
start prep for 2 weeks, go ahead with things, and then just see what happens.
so for those that maybe don't know, when did you turn pro, and what's the time frame you got to play with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I turned pro when I competed at the Muscle Mayhem in California. That was in 2018 in July.
Yep.
So that will be coming up on the 2 year marker here in a few months. So what happens essentially with the WNBF is when you turn pro, you have to stay eligible as a pro in the pro status. You have to kind of compete every 2 years. So this year, this 2020 year is kind of my 2 year mark coming up. So stay eligible, like I said, I got to compete. So what I was looking at doing originally, I was actually looking at doing Worlds. So I was looking at doing maybe the Monster Mash in Boston, there, Massachusetts,
Okay.
and then going possibly to Worlds like a week or two after. But obviously, yeah, with everything going on with this whole coronavirus and everything, just a lot of uncertainty going on right now. And I still feel like even in the upcoming months, if things were going on, I may not be feeling fully comfortable traveling to the States and whatnot. Just because, as well, I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so I kind of have a higher health concern maybe than the average individual.
Yep.
For me, this year, essentially, what I'm looking at doing is if shows do go on, I'm looking at, I think, doing the show in Edmonton.
Yeah, you'd have to fly.
First. So, yeah, exactly. So, as of right now, things kind of changing up with everything going on, but if things go as planned, I'll be competing in late October at the Edmonton show. The plan.
Nice. So yeah, so for those listening, Breton and myself, we're both from Canada. So for us, he's even farther than I am. You're way on the East Coast. I'm kind of central. But for us, it's more cost effective and time effective to drive to the States and compete in northern United States, which was what I was intending to do. And obviously he's entertaining the thought of. But with everything that's going on, me and him getting across the border is a hurdle in itself. So that's what he was saying, was that you might have to go and fly out west. What would that cost you? Any idea?
Yeah, so man, see, that's the other rough part, right? Doing all the costs and everything like that. If I had to guess, a good ballpark, probably about $1,000.
Yeah.
I think that's roughly what I paid for like a there and back kind of flight, round trip flight, when I competed in 2018. So I'd say roughly $1,000, give or take.
And to drive to like Boston or something like that, what's your time frame for that, for where you are?
Yeah, no, actually, see, with that, I don't have an exact time frame. I think it'd still probably be. I mean, obviously, it'd be cheaper. You have to spend gas and whatnot on the way up, but overall, probably cheaper. Obviously, a lot more time consuming. See, I don't have an exact time. Like, I would guess 15, 20-ish something hours, but I honestly, God, I don't know exactly. I haven't even looked that far into it. Just, but roughly, give or take. I think that's around the distance, and that would have been the plan, is to drive up to Boston.
Yeah. So when you're pro, is it just the 2 years after you first get it, or when you're a pro, you have to compete? Like, you technically have to compete every 2 years.
Yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's every 2 years while you're a pro to stay eligible, kind of thing. So
Really?
for me wanting to stay a pro, yeah, it's looking at competing it kind of every 2 years right now.
That's interesting. Like I was thinking about that the other day. Like there's some guys that don't seem to compete every 2 years, but like maybe they do, and I just don't notice it. I don't know. It just feels like there's longer gaps for some of the pros that I follow, but maybe not.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, like I said, unless I'm mistaking somehow, and maybe it's just after you get your card. But from what I understand, I think you do have to compete every 2 years. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Some people, it seems like they're pro, and you're like, when? I can't even remember the last time you
Yeah,
competed. But yeah,
yeah.
totally.
So you've spent then the last long time in an off season. How's everything been going up until now? Obviously, you've made some progress from what I've seen on Instagram and stuff. So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. So, yeah, to be quite honest, I felt like I've had a very productive off season. I mean, it's been like, geez, what, 16, 17-ish plus months in a surplus, more or less. I mean, one or two little mini cuts in between, but
Yeah,
been full force. My progression in the gym has been great, slow and steady, but fairly linear throughout the entire off season, which is great. Haven't had too many kind of sticking points, which is great.
hmm
One thing though that kind of changed up for me this year was I'm actually going to university right now.
yeah,
So um, I was in college before, and I actually transferred over to finish my kinesiology degree in a university level. And I'm finding that that was quite a heavy course load. So quite a bit more stress in my life, a lot less free time. I kind of tapered down my client list a little bit, so I kind of lowered the amount of clients I was working with. I really tried to focus a lot on school this year,
nice.
which is totally fine. That was great. I was enjoying that. But in terms of training, I didn't have like, in the past, I could go in, do a 15, 20-minute warm up, get an hour and a half, an hour, 45-minute session, and 20-minute cool down.
Yeah,
Have as much fun as I wanted in the gym.
yeah,
This year, just like I said, being a lot more busy, I would say I was more limited to, okay, let's try and get in and get out in about an hour, an hour and 15. Trying to make the most of my workouts. So for me personally, I actually steered a little bit more towards a little bit lower volume, higher intensity training, training more to failure, certain
yeah.
things like that I maybe haven't done as much in the past. But yeah, it was a nice mix because, like I said, it's been roughly almost like a 2 year off season. Um, the first year I had a lot of time. I trained a lot higher volume, a lot more of my style of training that I enjoy. And then, like I said, this year, a little change of plans with university. So it was a kind of a forced change, but it was an enjoyable change and, just change up my training and kind of had to adapt with what was going on. So, but
How
no,
are,
it's been good.
how have you found nutrition? Because that's one thing. I got really serious into bodybuilding like when I was basically coming out of college. Like in college, I was definitely mindful of my food, but nowhere near to the extent that you or I would be at right now. I would just eat a lot often throughout the day, basically.
Yeah.
So how have you found being in school and trying to basically progress as a friggin' pro?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's definitely a struggle, that's for sure. Certain things like, I mean, just as you would know and anyone else would know, it's just being smart with your time management, priorities. For me personally, it's a lot of putting aside maybe an hour or two a few times a week to prepare a lot of my protein sources, put them in the fridge. For me personally, I like to do just a lot of easy carb sources like minute rice, stuff
Yeah,
like that that's kind of quick and accessible for me because I'm kind of on the go a lot, so I'm doing the whole Tupperware in the library and whatnot. So
yeah,
for me, it's more or less just putting that time aside, preparing my meals in advance, and just like I said, prioritizing my time and making sure I'm cooking and doing the things that are important to me. Because, like you said, obviously nutrition is super important. So for me, it's just preparing in advance. And actually, a lot of the times too, lately I've been just doing like a quick morning shake before classes when that was all going on. So protein powder, make a quick smoothie or whatever with some
yeah.
fruit and whatnot. So more or less just preparing my food in advance and trying to have meals and snacks and protein powder, protein bar, stuff that I can easily take on the go when I am in class.
Now, do you track that like in MyFitnessPal religiously, or is it just kind of you have a mental note of how much food you're eating in a day?
So what I did, I actually did this for my last off season. I found this works well for me. Is I will go. So obviously during my whole prep, religiously tracking everything, and then I will say follow the same protocol for at least a few months off season, so that I just don't fall out of a routine. So what I'll do is kind of track very religiously, just like I would during a prep for the first few months of my off season,
Mm-hmm.
and then getting a few months deeper, I'll maybe track 3 or 4 times a week. Gradually get off and be a little bit more intuitive. So what I do right now is, I mean, you're kind of the same way, right? Like once you track for so long, you have a pretty good idea of what contains what and what the
Yeah.
200 grams of chicken breast looks like, or whatever the case may be. So what I do more or less right now is just say I'll usually track like 2 times a week. I'll give myself 2 days, eat like how I normally would when I'm intuitively eating, and then just see, okay, yep, right on. I'm kind of right on track with where I should be. But more or less, I'm more mindful of just hitting a protein target that I have set for myself, and then just getting within a few hundred calories of what I'm trying to do, mostly through estimating throughout the day, which is fine. It's still working fairly well for me. Just tracking my weight every morning. I still keep a good record of all my weight, getting an average of my weekly weigh-ins, and just kind of see how things are looking from that end as well.
What are you weighing right now?
Right now, I am 188. I was 188 this morning is what I'm weighing. So,
Is that an all-time high?
It's not. So it's pretty much on point with an all-time high. So last off season, I think I got to 190 or 191, but I was quite a bit fluffier.
So that's good.
I'm feeling my body composition is quite a bit improved.
Nice.
And to be within 2 or 3 pounds of my highest weigh-in ever, and looking quite a bit leaner, I'm pretty pleased with that. Starting off this prep here soon.
Good. Now remind me, do you coach yourself or no?
So actually, right now I will be. So what it is I've actually only really ever worked with Patty lifts.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So actually, long story short, for maybe people who aren't familiar, Patty lifts, good buddy of Jeff Nippert and stuff like that. He actually is from Halifax, where I'm from. So with my very first bodybuilding competition, 2016 it was when I competed here in Halifax. I actually ran into him at the gym, started following him on social media, started to get to know him, worked with Patty. He kind of brought me into my first show, became good buddies with him over the past few years, and then he coached me into winning my pro card up the Muscle Mayhem. And I've just always been in close contact with him, always chatting with him, seeing what's going on. And more or less, what I'll probably do is I'll probably coach myself the majority of the way, update him with what's going on, send him progress pictures, but more or less do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Use him as a good second eye. And then what I like to do is I kind of did the same style of approach my last prep, but towards maybe the last like 8-ish weeks when your mind starts playing tricks on you, you don't know if you're lean enough. I'll kind of maybe hand the reins a little bit more over to him, just because he's definitely a really trusted eye of me, and it's just great to get his opinion, feedback, and like I said, I really trust him. So
nice, right on. So talk about your little gym setup right now. You got a decent little rig at home, eh?
Yes. So it's funny. I've got so many messages from people asking me, "Man, can I pay you to come, hit your gym and stuff like that?"
Yeah.
But I'm like, "No, okay, you got to stay social distancing over
Yeah.
here." But no. So super, very very lucky that my father, he's kind of been into weight training like me as well throughout his whole life. So he's always been one to have like, we've always had like an Olympic barbell, some plates, a few things. And over the years, he's just kind of been collecting things up in my basement. Like 2 years back, he got the little squat rack set up.
Yep.
And then we've been collecting dumbbells. We have some resistance bands, and now we just picked up like an incline bench. We got a bunch of stuff now, so it seems
Nice.
like we've almost been preparing for this now.
Yeah.
So it worked out pretty good. Yeah, I'm definitely lucky with the setup I have. That my dad got all for me.
For sure. So what's the, I don't know, like cultural, social environment out where you are? Like I'm in Ontario, so we're like Toronto, Ottawa, so it's just a shit show. How's like everybody around you in your circle, like your friend group, your family? Like what's everybody's vibes right now?
Man, see, it's one of those things. Like I still personally, I don't, like I said, me being diabetic, I find I'm just at high risk, so I'm trying to take things very seriously as well. Like I'm really not trying to leave my house much or do anything really.
Yep.
So I remember, I had to go get gas the other day. I was on my way to pick some stuff up from my apartment in Wolffair there. Anyways, just the environment of going out, it feels surreal. Like people taking it very seriously. Everyone walking around with the masks on.
Yeah.
Posted on every store, no more than 5 people in at a time kind of thing. Tape markers lined up 6 feet apart. Like it seems to have went like 0 to 100. I find right very very quickly.
Yeah.
Last month it was talk about shutting things down, whatever. And then fast forward a couple weeks and it's a ghost town. Like even in Halifax, no traffic,
It's crazy.
barely buses running. Oh, jeez. But yeah, just pretty crazy. It feels like I said surreal. It doesn't almost feel real. Just kind of, I guess, trying to make the best of it, really. But yeah, it's pretty crazy over here as well, man.
Getting groceries is weird because they have like all the lines on the floor and like shelves are empty. Like still getting chicken is hard. And
Yes, dude, absolutely. Yeah, I know. Where it's always I go to and stuff. There's no bread left. Like
yeah,
there's all kinds of random stuff gone.
that's so wild.
I
So
know.
so this year, have you reached out at all to see if things go not how you want them to go? Can you carry that 2 year thing? Like, will that stretch another year? Have you looked into that at all?
So that's funny you said that, man. I was like literally in the works of just gonna message them because for me, anyways, the way I'm looking at it, I'm gonna start a diet anyway. So worst comes to worst, I've been in a surplus for a while. Maybe I'll make it a mini cut or whatever if that has to happen. But yeah, that's kind of my plan. Is I'm gonna start dieting regardless in a few weeks, and then yeah, that's exactly my plan. Is to shoot them an email, send them a message on Instagram, whatever. Just get in contact with them, saying like, listen, worst case scenario, shows are postponed until 2021 or whatever
Yeah.
the case may be. Will my eligibility transfer over? Which, knock on wood, I'm really hoping it would because I mean, what else can you kind of do, right?
Yeah, it's out of your hands, but it's out of their hands too, right? It's not just that, oh, I couldn't line up with that show or I couldn't make it or blah blah. Like this is totally nothing anybody would have expected, right? And I know, Connor,
Yeah, oh yeah,
he's in the same boat as well. Like I think he's actually starting prep really soon for maybe even the same shows you're thinking about, but he was saying the same thing that I think he got his last year, so he has this year and next year and he wanted to do it this year, but if there's no shows, then you're kind of kiboshed.
yeah, exactly. No, yeah, it's fun. I'm pretty sure actually we're looking at doing the exact same show together in Edmonton. So, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's starting prepping about a month time, like mid-May or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely, man. It'll be interesting to see how things turn out with that. I'll definitely be interested to see how everything plays out in the long run. But yeah, no, absolutely not in my control. Like you said, all I can do is kind of prepare accordingly
Yep.
and prepare that a show is going to happen. And if not, then you know what? It was a fun dieting phase and jump right back into a surplus for next year. Really.
Yeah, and then I guess it would just be if you have to go get it again or something like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, that too exactly. Just kind of prepare as best I can for whatever's going to happen. Is I guess the situation.
Yeah. Now you got it in men's physique. Have you toyed around with making the jump at all?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It would be sweet. See, it's just always that mind game of not big enough,
Yeah.
not enough muscle mass. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Of course. But it's, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, a lot of the people that I follow, a lot of the people I look up to, they're not men's physique competitors. They're natural bodybuilders like, you guys, AJ, Jack Thorburn, all those kind of guys. Love following all them. Um, and yeah, absolutely. I would definitely toy around with that idea. I think like this season wouldn't be it, but see, I always kind of say, oh, next season, but I would definitely love to. One of the, we don't have the biggest or best legs. I do enjoy training legs, stuff like that. I have to bring up some body parts for sure, but why not try my luck at it? I mean, that's how I first started competing in men's physique. I didn't even know if I was going to like it. I said, hey, might as well try out a competition. Ended up loving it. So you know what? Why not try with bodybuilding too?
Yeah. Yeah. Now, are you strictly going to compete within the WNBF now? No CPA or anything like that?
Uh, probably. That's kind of my plan as of right now. Things
Yeah.
could change, but yeah, no. I would like to stay within the WNBF for the most part. Yeah.
Have you done any CPA shows? Like, was your first one WNBF
So my
too?
first one was NPC show, like kind of a non-tested show. So it was called like the East Coast Classic, is what it was. It was just kind of a random local show around here. Like I said, it was in 2016.
Yep.
I had like 2 years of training under my belt. Definitely didn't have enough muscle mass or anything like that, but I kind of went in more with the idea of, like I said, I was following Patty Lifts there, Patrick on Instagram, stuff like that. I was like, you know what, man? Like, I just kind of want to try this show out, see what it's all about. I really enjoy training. I I just want to kind of get my feet wet, see what this is all going to be about.
Yep.
Ended up coming like mid-pack, whatever. Like I said, it was an untested show. I was a natural athlete there. Not sure who else was. Doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
just went out, had some fun. And then that's when I kind of lit that fire under me because I'm a pretty competitive guy. I grew up like an athlete playing sports and stuff like that. I was like, man, you know what? I think I can come first place sometime. Like, I'm really going to try and come first place. Let's do that.
I got this.
Yeah, I got this. Exactly. So that's actually really when kind of really started taking things more seriously. It was after 2016 first competition, and then from then on was like, all right, this is my thing. I like this.
Nice, right on, dude. And how's coaching going? Like you said, you dialed back some clients and stuff like that. Are you still coaching a few people right now?
Yeah, so I have a handful of clients right now. I was doing quite a few more in the summertime because for kind of my full-time job over the summer, I did a bit of in-person personal training at a local gym here, and then I did some online stuff, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
So thankful that I'm in that position where I can do that. It's awesome. And then, yeah, right now I'm just kind of more so like a handful of people that I'm working with, some clients that I've worked with for like a year or so now. I just more or less was not really taking on new clients during the school year, just because, like I said, it was a pretty stressful time for me. I had a lot of stuff going on. I just really trying to, focus on my grades, focus on giving the best service I can to a few people, and then focus on my training and stuff like that.
Awesome, good stuff. So, looking ahead, so you're done school now, like for the summer?
So yes, for the summer, I'll have actually one more year next year, and then I'll be kind of graduated and done with school is the plan for right now. But yeah, I'm done for this semester. Just had my last exam Saturday, thankfully.
Yeah, right on. You confident with everything? Feeling good?
Yeah, man, feeling good. The last exam I had was, oh man, that class ended death. Biomechanics. It was not fun. But everything else was good. Yeah, I got by everything, got good grades, and happy with all that. So.
Nice. And what are you hoping like after school? What's kind of the path that you're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I'm taking kinesiology, and I'm doing some like I do like some strength and conditioning classes, and I'll get some certifications while I'm going through school. So I get to kind of focus in on the road I want to go in terms of like I said, I can do some strength and conditioning work and stuff like that. But more or less, what I'm looking at is just I learn a lot. Like I love learning through stuff like your podcast, just kind of all the options we have out there through Revive Stronger, all these people, and I've been a lot of self-taught learning in terms of nutrition, exercise, training, everything like that. So for me, I just wanted to get a little bit more formal education behind my name, just learn more. Like I said, I really enjoy this stuff, and going to school for me it was great to open up my horizon, just to new things that I may not have learned through different podcasts or through, reading different books or whatever it may be. So personally, my goal for going to school was just to expand my knowledge, help kind of further myself as not only like a coach, but an athlete and everything in that aspect.
Yep.
So for me, one of my goals is to, now that I have a little bit more free time, I want to keep kind of pushing myself a little bit more on social media. I might have some ideas coming out. I might even start a YouTube channel, come up with some more content, do some more stuff, because ideally I would love to kind of be, more or less self-employed when I graduate next year and do things online fully. But with that being said as well, I got a lot of hands-on experience, and I really do enjoy like in-person personal training as well.
Yeah.
So I can see myself maybe splitting my time up, maybe getting into in-person personal training. Potentially in years to come would be great if I could open up a small facility or studio for myself and do that by myself.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe doing some like in-person training. Like I said, kind of expand my online presence a little bit more, try and get some more clients and do that online as well, because I really do enjoy doing that. And just kind of go from there, man. Just kind of see what the opportunities arise and see where I can go with things.
Nice. Yeah, like I did full-time personal training until like right before I moved, which was last summer. And I was like 4 years full-time in person, 30, 40 hours a week, blah, blah. So I did all that stuff, and it's really fun. It's one thing that like I still have a few clients I see in person, obviously not right now, but once this is all said and done, they'll be back. But the gym I go to, I worked it out with the owner there to train a few people in person, because it's just online is great. And if you get people that are super disciplined, super dedicated and that kind of stuff, like, they'll get the work done. But there's still something nice about like seeing someone in person, having that conversation every day, and correcting them actually right there and that kind of stuff. So I still keep a few clients a week in that same vein because it's fun. It's a little bit different, right? It gets you off the computer.
Oh man, absolutely. That was kind of one of my main things as to why like I was doing actually more online training in the summer than in-person training, and that was one of the things I realized was like, a lot of people think, oh, full-time online coaching, maybe that's a dream job, but for someone like me as well, I really enjoy like I'm kind of an extrovert in some ways as well, so I enjoy seeing people,
Yeah.
talking to people, and going out, walking around, doing all that kind of stuff. So I but also obviously being self-employed would be great doing it online for yourself. So I think for me, kind of my personality would be great to have a mix of both.
Yeah.
Maybe doing some in-person training early in the morning for a few hours, seeing some people, keeping those in-person connections and relationships, and then doing a little bit more of my own stuff in the evening or whatever it may be
Yep.
online. So
Yeah, just having that balance.
anyways.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's cool. All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on and having this little conversation. It was nice catching up.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Well, I wish you all the best with prep and everything, and fingers crossed. Come the fall, things have tidied up a little bit. From my understanding, things are starting to look up. So hopefully by then things are all at least somewhat back to normal for you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, same goes for you. I appreciate that, man. Stay safe out there, and let's get back to normal here soon.
Yeah, you too. And if you're ever in Toronto, you message me.
Man, absolutely. Yeah, you too, man. I'm Halifax. You got to come visit Nova Scotia sometime. I'll come over to Toronto, and we'll get a training session.
Sounds good, brother. Follow this man on Instagram. It'll be linked down below. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Man. All right, buddy. Yeah, no problem. I'll talk to you later then.
Yeah, man. Have a good one.